Hey there, I'm Julie. Welcome to Your Self Yoga for Menopause. Today we're talking perimenopause sleep issues. So if you're struggling with perimenopause sleep disturbances or insomnia, this is the video for you. But you're not going to hear the usual things like get a better mattress, cut down on alcohol, caffeine, don't look at the blue light on your phone. Although all of those are important, I'm going to be sharing some secret tips and natural remedies. Firstly, I'm going to start by looking at why does perimenopause affect our sleep? What happens to the body? How much sleep you actually need? What lifestyle factors aggravate your sleep in perimenopause? And then I'm going to be sharing those 5 natural remedies. Lots to unpack, so let's get started. So first of all, why do we experience perimenopause sleep disturbances? Why now? Okay, so perimenopause, as you probably know, is the first stage of the 3 stages of menopause. And it's that time when we start with these crazy fluctuations in hormones. You probably already know from your cycle, and particularly if you struggle with PMS, that you are prone to sleep disturbances during your cycle, and you have this fluctuation in body temperature and so on. So that is exactly why. It is the hormone fluctuations that are exacerbated by this first stage of menopause, and obviously other contributing factors like stress, hot flushes, and the night sweats, which will wake you up, which again is the fluctuation in temperature. These all have a knock-on effect, sadly, on sleep in perimenopause. So what happens to the body when it doesn't get enough sleep? I mean, we know that we're more grumpy, we're irritable, we're more tired, but what actually happens to the body? I mean, in a continued prolonged state, it can't function properly. It struggles, right? 30% of our lifetime is spent asleep, so it's worth figuring out what's going on and trying to understand it. If you think about the time when we are in a deep sleep, it's a state of repair and renewal for our cells, where they are replenished, they regenerate, and this strengthens our immune system. Without that taking place, our immune system is weak and we're more prone to illnesses and diseases. But the brain can't function properly without enough sleep, right? The knock-on effect of that is cognitive issues, poor memory recall. We talk about brain fog in perimenopause and menopause, and it's because we can't think straight, we can't focus, we can't concentrate. And it also, other issues can lead to weight gain. We've got poor decision making when it comes to our diet. We crave comfort food because we're tired, we don't have the effort to make dinners and eat healthily. We're also less empathetic and have very little patience and time for others and ourselves included. So short term, it's a real kind of impact on our mental state of health, but long term is an impact on the physical state. The long term poor quality of sleep or lack of sleep leads to this buildup of toxins, which is quite scary because it's now been linked with the onset of Alzheimer's and certain cancers. But it is this weakened state of immunity that can cause other issues, and also weight gain, which can then lead to obesity and diabetes and so on. So it really can become quite serious over a prolonged period. Have you downloaded our free sleep guide for menopause? Check the link below, download it, lots more tips and advice in there to help. So how many hours sleep should we be looking at in perimenopause? What is a good night's sleep? So the National Sleep Foundation recommends between 7 to 9 hours sleep, or less than that if you're progressing in age, because we need less sleep as we get older. But here's the thing, it varies from person to person, right? You could be fine on as little as 5-6 hours sleep. That's perfectly okay. Neither does a good night's sleep constitute never waking up, never stirring, and you just sleep through continuously, right? So that's kind of like a false expectation. So don't set the bar too high. And our sleep is affected by lots of other things that we will go into. So my definition of good sleep that I want to share with you is that it is entirely dependent on the person, but it's what leaves you feeling refreshed and able to cope with your day. So if you're permanently waking up and you're struggling to cope with your day, well, then you need more sleep. So what actually aggravates our sleep in perimenopause? So diet plays a key role, as well as what you eat. It's also when you eat. And stress when the body is flooded with cortisol and you haven't wound down, it's very, very hard to slip into that deep state of relaxation. Poor sleep hygiene is also responsible for contributing to poor sleep, and that could be the temperature of the room, it could be the darkness of the room, it could be the mattress, it could be the pillow, it could be blue lights, it could be a whole host of different things related to hygiene in your bedrooms. That's certainly worth looking at. Alcohol, of course, caffeine. 6 hours later, the caffeine remains in your system after 1 cup of coffee. So if you're grabbing a late afternoon coffee before bedtime, just be careful of the hours before you go to sleep. And also illuminated signs and big bright alarm clocks next to the bed can also aggravate your sleep. So those are just a few sleep hygiene tips for you. So let's take a look now at 5 natural remedies for perimenopause sleep, which very few people talk about. So number 1, bring forward your evening meal, right? The body behaves differently in the evening than it does during the day, and the digestive system just can't cope. So if you've had a late night heavy meal, that's what it will stay. It will stay heavy and uncomfortable in the digestive system, but it's not just that, it won't be processed properly. Or consider this, the body in bed is trying to rest and repair and renew the cells we've talked about. It can't do that if it's got to work at dealing with a big heavy meal that needs digesting. So it does neither very, very well, right? And because you're not burning the calories, you're not moving around, you're just lying in bed, those calories convert very, very easily into fat, right? So experts recommend probably 3 hours, right? A cut-off point for the last meal before you go to bed to allow your digestive system to function properly, because the last thing you want is indigestion, acid reflux, and all the horrible things that come with poor digestion. So give your body chance to do what it does best during the evening, and that's not processing a heavy meal. So number 2, practice a yoga restorative sequence before bed. How can the body slip into a deep state of relaxation if your mind is running riot and your body feels tight and tense, especially if you've had lots of tension during the day? Women especially store tension in their hips, so everything's super tight. So how do you wind down? Or if you've watched a thriller on TV just before you go to bed, you're kind of like this, right? So you need to relax. And it doesn't mean rolling out a yoga mat before you go to bed. You can do restorative poses on your bed. I have some restorative tutorials, and check out my restorative yoga video on this channel for stress relief. But it's all about holding a pose for a few minutes so the mind can calm and the body can calm. It's not magic, but it taps into your parasympathetic nervous system, which calms everything down, which tells the brain, okay, we got this, guys. It can switch off and everything start to relax and wind down. Now, tip, it could just be legs up against the headboard. Yeah, swing your legs up against a headboard. If you don't have a headboard, you have a wall, right? So swing your legs up against the wall and lie there for 5 to 10 minutes before you go to sleep. You will notice a big difference. Number 3, listen to a Yoga Nidra meditation. We should be taught this in school. Yoga Nidra is an ancient practice. It's a sleep-based meditation. So when we go to sleep, our brains are in beta brainwaves, right? The beta brainwaves are the thought processing brainwaves, where the brain's working, figuring things out, and so on. We don't want that. We want it to move into a slower pace of brainwave, which is alpha state. And Yoga Nidra helps you do this. You're listening to a guided meditation and it's slowing everything down in the mind and the body, maybe calming the mind through breathing, or it could be a body scan, or probably both, bringing everything down so you hit those alpha brainwaves, and those are the relaxation brainwaves. Everything, you can feel yourself going down. It's a beautiful, beautiful way to meditate and go to sleep, right? So you're moving from beta to alpha, and you may even reach delta, which are the deep, deep sleep brainwaves. So you're giving your mind and body the best chance to enjoy a deep and nourishing sleep. And just a few facts for you: a good night's sleep should incorporate at least 20% delta brainwaves. So number 4, if you wake up during the night, listen to a meditation or practice breathing techniques, right? So sleep disturbances are very common in perimenopause, as we've discussed. So what happens when you can't get back to sleep? Keep your headphones by your bed. You could listen to a Yoga Nidra meditation again, but try a regular meditation for sleep. It could be where you are focusing on the breath or focusing on the body, scanning the body, relaxing each part of the body, a little bit like counting sheep. Yeah, and breathwork, you could do breathwork exercises to really calm down the breathing, slow down the breathing. So again, you're tapping into the parasympathetic nervous system and you're occupying the mind. Give a busy mind something to do by diverting it to the breath and away from whatever issue is working in your mind. So those both help when you have been disturbed and you need to get back to sleep. What you don't want to do is be looking at the clock. In my online Menopause Yoga membership, I have scores of meditations and breathing techniques that help with stress relief, fatigue, and sleep problems in perimenopause. Check out the link below and enjoy 7-day free trial. You won't regret it. So number 5, what do you do if you're still awake after 20 minutes and the tossing and turning has started? Maybe even you've tried a meditation, you just can't get back to sleep. So experts recommend that if it's beyond 20 minutes, get up, get out of bed, go make yourself a drink, go to the bathroom, maybe make a chamomile tea, do some reading, right? And then go back into your bed. You don't want to read your phone. You don't want to be looking at the time. And I know it's easier said than done, but you want to train your brain that you only sleep in your bed. You're not lying there tossing, turning, looking at social media and getting all wound up and stressed. So get up, get out of bed, and then go back to bed. If it's cold or if, you know, the tiredness really kicks in after 10 minutes, great, you're back in bed and you just start over. And maybe that's when the meditation comes in. So if you've enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel because there's more coming your way, and don't forget to download the free guide for sleep in menopause. Check out the link below. I'll see you again soon. Thank you for watching. Namaste.